Ask me that again. No, this is just continue.
Okay.
Just ask me that again. What about 7.5 billion people, did you say?
Okay. 7.5 million people have to be awakened, so the planet can...
Yeah, but not by you and me alone. It's going to take a lot of beings from around the galaxy to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Practical.
Uh-huh.
They're going to have to be awakened first when they're out of their body at night in the dream state, and then they're going to have to wake up with a new insight and more awareness, and they're going to want to know more, and then they'll cross paths with certain beings who will be put in their path, and it will go from there.
Mm-hmm.
It's already taking place as we speak. There are a lot of beings assigned to this planet right now to help people in government, classified government, and the populace be able to cope with and confront and remain serene and knowing through this change. Otherwise, the change would be very destructive. We don't want a destructive change. Pointless.
Many people are waiting for the planet to be completely changed, Scott.
Of course they are. Why wouldn't they? It's not exactly an eco-friendly planet. It's not exactly a human-friendly planet. It's not friendly to nature. It's not friendly to animals. Some animals aren't friendly to each other because of the way people are. It's not exactly a place you want to say, here's paradise, I want to hang my hat on Earth forever. No. Because it's not a normal planet, not yet. It never has been. Many millions of other worlds are. People on Earth have been kept from knowing about this, and deliberately kept from knowing about it. They're easy to control that way. So with that introduction, I'm glad I'm on your radio show today.
Hello, Scott.
Hi. I thought maybe we should get a little of that in the front of the show to intrigue people, because we'll be going in that direction somewhat today. I thought about maybe we'll take people, at least through their imagination, which is actually, they don't know it yet, but it's actually going there and being there while they're still on Earth. If the body is in this restful state, then they can know the body's there and be in two places at once or more. It's just a matter of training and experience and knowing and recovering what they once knew, getting back confidence they don't have right now about almost everything. Most people on Earth don't have any confidence at all about what they are that isn't physical, or how to travel the universe. They're not comfortable about meeting extraterrestrials because they don't know if they're good or bad, and they've seen many movies and extraterrestrial coming down to wipe out humanity and all that kind of stuff. There's no evidence ever that any extraterrestrial group has ever been given or allowed to come here and wipe this planet out or take it over. There just isn't any evidence of that. There's plenty of evidence that the attempt to do that by tyrant extraterrestrials has been prevented many times. There's actual evidence of that. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. Tyrant cultures on Earth like Egypt and Rome and Sumeria and the Yucatan and Mayan and Aztec, cultures in Africa that were terrible, and other places in its ancient history on this planet, don't exist anymore. They were influenced by and controlled by tyrant extraterrestrials, but those civilizations fell, didn't they? They don't exist anymore. It's not natural for a tyrant situation to run world systems forever. It's just not a natural thing. So one way or another, something undermines tyrants and they collapse. That's been the way of the past. In that collapse, many millions of people, or innocent people, are killed. So changing from the way the world is now to a place that is conscious, that takes its place among the stars with the Galactic Alliance of hundreds of millions of world systems, needs to come about without the old way of getting rid of tyrants, which was to go to war and defeat them. Whole planets have been destroyed in wars like that way long ago in galactic history. It wouldn't do us any good if we defeated the tyrants and everybody on Earth were dead. It's pointless. So the old ways of doing things had to be done away with in favor of a new way of doing things that can resolve this problem without destruction. That's why I do all this and get on your radio show, and why I do whatever I do. It isn't motivated by the baubles, as they say, the jewels and wealth and fame and fortune of planet Earth. That's not what motivates me. It's not what motivates the people I know from other worlds at all. The worlds and people that I know from outside of this planet, the great majority of them don't even use money. They don't have governments that lie to them. Very different. And since that's the majority out there, Earth has no choice but to catch up with that or be kept from ever playing in that field with those other people. Quarantined in our own solar system because we're too dangerous to allow out there. So that has to change so that that block in people on Earth is removed. So they're not tyrants, so they don't want to destroy each other, so they become who they were meant to be. People who can co-create new ways of doing things with each other peacefully, and with races from other worlds peacefully, to create new ways of doing things. That's our real purpose for existing here in the universe, in physical bodies or out of them. There's no other purpose for it than that. So we do these little radio shows. As you know, when we do private sessions or group sessions that we do, where there's, I think there were 10 people, including me, on this last one.
We have more people joining.
Yeah, but there's a limit to that, a very big limit to how many can do that. And I'm about at that limit now. Besides publishing books and publishing the Sailor's Agenda and taking that on right now.
He wants to say hello.
Yeah, he wants to say hi. Come on, here we go. There we go. There's Perry.
Hello.
Starlight knew we were recording, so he had to come. Starlight's very bright. He's a soul in Atma like me, running a kitty buddy, but he's telepathic and he's quite bright. Terrellian, Ambassador Terrellian, really likes this guy. So he'll look at you and then he'll do some telepathic thing and report back to Terrellian for your benefit. Quite clever. See how calm he is? He's just like quite together.
Can see his eyes.
Yeah, he's a good kitty. He's part Siamese. That's my buddy. Okay, you go over there. All right, there you go. When we go on these journeys, we go sometimes into what are called the higher worlds, which are dimensions of life that exist beyond, from your perspective in your part of the world, beyond the void known to most Buddhist monks. Many Buddhist monks are very well disciplined and highly trained. They can get out of their bodies. They can travel in the lower dimensions, but most of them don't even know there are higher planes above the void because they've never been told that. Why would they go to some place they don't know exists? In like manner, if very developed people on Earth were made aware of what exists beyond that void and were taken there and shown what's there, then they would visually know it's there, and then they could go there, because the way we get around the universe is by seeing the place we want to go to in our inner eye. Not the physical eyes, but the real us, the spherical us that sees out in the universe and knows things. We'll see an image of a place like the Atma plane, the first major plane above the void. And if you know what things look like there, you can picture that and then go there instantly, and then explore for your well-being and the well-being of others, people back on Earth. So we go on these journeys. But I don't know any of the people that are listening if they've read any of my books yet, or if they can even read them, because if they only speak and read Thai, they're not going to be able to speak and read English. So I don't know how much reality they have in what we do when we go on these guided journeys. So I hesitate to take your audience into the higher worlds until they understand, have a grounded understanding of what it is about and why. I don't want to do things that's just going to be way over their head. But if we go outside of the body and get outside of planet Earth and go off to, say, Norexilam, my home planet, 500 light years away, it's actually further away than that, beyond where people call the Seven Sisters, the 7 blue hot white stars that people can see with the naked eye under the right conditions from Earth. The Pleiades constellation, well, there are hundreds, thousands of worlds beyond that. So when people think of the Pleiades or Pleiadian people, which many people have heard about, there are many cultures of human beings in those world systems. Some with brown skin, darker skin, Caucasian, all kinds of elven-like, all kinds of things that are human-based and way back in galactic history. And they work together in peace and harmony. Most people think of Pleiadian people as being blue-skied, blonde-haired, Caucasian people, and that's it. This is not the case. I would say that some people from the Pleiades who have a heritage, a number of collected worlds, that are Caucasian with blonde hair and blue eyes have come to this planet. Some with good intentions, some under tyrant control in the past. It becomes very confusing for people on Earth when they start to address the extraterrestrial issue, because they think of themselves as the center of the universe here on Earth. They don't know any better. And they think, why, wouldn't it be neat if there was actually life on other planets? Are they kidding? Life on other planets? There's billions of them just in this one galaxy. Just because people on Earth have been kept from knowing about this by a collective of governments that classified it after World War II doesn't mean they don't exist. Been coming here and people know they have. There's a history of Earth and the solar system, our Earth and this planet Earth and the solar system, and galactic history that people on Earth have no idea existed at any time. There's a far more ancient history to planet Earth than what people vaguely imagine in history they're taught in schools on this planet, which is mostly about tyrant bloodline kings and murderous kings and queens. That's what's famous in our history? Well, whoop-de-doo, we don't have much of a history then, do we? The real history, there have been a number of cultures on this planet far more ancient than Rome or Samaria that were benevolent colonizers from other worlds. That goes back more than 50 million years, since the dinosaurs that were roaming the world freely were extinct. It's important for people to think about this properly, or they're going to be lost in a 10,000 plus year history that means virtually nothing compared to Earth's history, real history, or galactic history. And people on Earth who are here today, all over the planet, did not originate on this world. Not one of them. The most ignorant person, terrorist person that goes postal and flips out and starts shooting anybody, regular people that won't flip out, classified people, hidden military industrial complex people, all those kinds of things. They don't have a clue that they did not originate on this planet. They're kept in the dark to wonder if life exists on other planets. Oh, brother. I don't blame them, because that's how they grew up. What else are they compared to? When I share with you, It's really about letting people know that no matter what walk in life they are, where they live, what they're doing for a living, what they think they know, each single Atma, now I'm talking about the real being now, not the physical body. When it's awake, it is capable of remembering all the lives it's lived on other worlds and in other dimensions. And their lives, I can say this, every single being on this planet that doesn't remember who they are has lived more lives out there in other realities than they've ever lived on this planet, even if they've been here for 10,000 years, reincarnating over and over again. It's a small drop in the bucket of who they are. So, you know, part of this whole thing about enlightenment isn't becoming God realized and worshiping some divine being and living in some paradise, which everybody's been taught here. That's not it. Enlightenment has to do with remembering who you are as a being and how to move in and out of bodies freely and how to remember your history and purpose for existing as a being and how to co-create with what people call the source or the vast majority of worlds outside of Earth called Prime Creator. And that plane where that exists is far above in the upper worlds above the void known to us, way up in higher planes. And every single being that runs a human body today originated there, not here. Human bodies did not originate or evolve on this planet. They evolved long ago in galactic history on other galaxies and other world systems and were brought here in one scenario or another, going back many, many, many millions of years. Recolonizations of this planet has taken place a number of times because the poles of this planet would flip. It's a phenomenon that is unique to this planet. And when that happens, when it did happen, most of the land masses would break up and new ones would rise from the seafloor, and most life would be wiped out. The planet would not be destroyed, but life living on its surface most certainly would if it couldn't get off the planet. One of the first problems that had to be solved dealing with this world is how to stop those polar flips from ever happening again. So we don't go through this golden age to iron age and back again that people have heard about. That's like being part of a yo-yo. It makes no sense. So that's the first thing that had to happen. The flipping of the poles of this planet was permanently suspended a little over 7 years ago. Same time this new ray in the hue came into existence. That didn't exist before, out in the universe or up in the upper planes or anywhere. Usually when I start one of these journeys, to set up, it's kind of a telepathic thing. It's not a psychic thing. I'm not putting down psychic stuff. It's just that the psychic energies work with the positive and negative streams in the 4 lower dimensions. And they swing from one pole to the other like a wave. And they're unreliable. So I work with the hue that comes from the higher worlds that runs through the dual current from behind it, that is stable and doesn't go up and down. Continues to get ever deeper and wider in the consciousness of the being. As a soul or an Atma, we are spherically shaped energy like a planet or a sun. That's the real nature of a human being, not this. This is a type of body that an Atma can run. There are many other type of evolved human and humanoid bodies that the soul or the Atma can run, not just on this planet. I'd say that the sooner that a person starts to become aware of this in this life, against all odds that they'll ever discover it, it becomes an unfolding process that is not reversible. Once the hue crosses their path, what begins to happen in their life is good and freeing, but it cannot be reversed by any negative power or being or technology on any planet anywhere. So working with the new ray in the hue brings with it a certain kind of protection that people can utilize even on Earth, as negative as it is, and walk through life in a peaceful, dynamic, childlike, wondrous way. And as they do, that spreads out into the rest of humanity and begins to uplift it. It was said that Buddha's aura was several miles wide while he was alive. There are beings I know that are 7 galaxies wide. It's all a matter of degrees. It means that whatever's coming through a person can influence life in a several mile area. And as a person like that walks through a village or through a town, it begins to uplift people. But his life here and the life of other people who came here to help enlighten people never really affected the world in a large enough scale to change it. That's why it's like it is today. So to change it on a planetary scale, it must involve the friendly cooperation and expertise and highly evolved natures of beings from many other worlds that have recently become inspired to get involved in doing that for this world. Without all them, we wouldn't have a chance of coming out of this amnesia of not knowing what we are. I suppose most people grow up feeling that to not know who you are and that God put you here for a reason is normal. It's not. It's just something they believe to make themselves feel better, and that's okay. But there is no great being somewhere up in the higher worlds that ordered people to come here and be unconscious and as dumb as bricks, forget all their lives and everything they ever knew about who they were that isn't the physical body, and then say, go on Earth and be stupid, and now get it right with wisdom. How can any being who's working on half thrusters and 6 to 10% of their brain that's 100% developed get that right? That's not possible. So you see, for people to really get this right, they're going to have to wake up to who they are as a being, not a body. The energy they're made of is not protons and neutrons and electrons and atoms and quarks and semi-quarks and mesars and quantums. It's of another finer energy that existed before the lower dimensions were built, before planets and galaxies were formed. And each one of us as a being, as an individual being, originated in that energy. We're comprised of exactly the same energy as the source itself, the prime creator, the supreme being in the highest world. Identical in every way. I'm not talking about the body now. And that energy cannot be destroyed or altered. The form that it runs, like a physical body, can be destroyed, but not the energy of the Atma itself. Not even tyrants can do that.
Scott, may I ask, how about the Atma of animals comprised from the source too?
They are from the source as well. And like my cat here, Starlight. He's intelligent, he's telepathic, he feels pain if he's hurt, he thinks, he reasons, he's loving. And the only way that a cat or any animal could do that is if the Atma was running it. It means that there are Atmas who are running bodies even on Earth, trapped and unconscious, to be slaughtered by people for food, who are just as much of an Atma as they are. They're learning how to take on a higher energy field so that they can run a human body. It takes training and time for an Atma to be able to run higher forms. This form was created, this type of human form was brought into creation by the Seres long ago on other worlds, among many other types of races. so that the genomes on the DNA would function in such a way that if the Atma started running it, got into one of these bodies and could run it, they could work their higher faculties of creation through that body form on different planes of existence. It was not done originally to have beings running lower bodies stuck in them, not remembering anything. See, that's got to, that whole thing's got to be turned around. So anyway, when I send out the hue in this, each of the beginning of these shows that we do, I do it on a series of tone levels that go up in pitch a number of times, 12, 13, 14 times sometimes, because it opens a door from this pure hue energy that cannot be manipulated by negative things into the pineal gland in people through myself, and it opens a certain door that has a protected field of energy around it that allows the being to start to surface above the stuff that was put in them subconsciously to make them not remember. So they begin to remember some of the things we do will ring a bell with your listeners. Something will go off in them like, I used to know that somehow. How could I forget that? That's what we want. Because then a person starts to have direct experience with recovering, getting dominance over the negative things that were done to it. Each Atma, each being has always had the ability to master negative things. But they don't remember this. They were forced to forget it. It's a long story. But that can be awoken in a person. And then they can begin to make real gains and remember and recall a lot while they're on this earth. And that changes their destiny completely, alters it in a new direction. When I start this and talk with you, I'm waiting for friends that I work with, like Ambassador Terrellian, who's the ambassador for the Say-Rays human race. They are billions of years old. They did not evolve in the Milky Way galaxy. They didn't even evolve originally in this parallel dimension of the physical universe. They evolved in a higher parallel dimension of the physical universe and came down here. I'm not talking astral. I'm talking about the parallel dimensions like layers that exist in the physical universe. Each one has a different time rate of molecular time rate. So there are many levels that beings that have the technology know how can move between them, and worlds in all of them. They were responsible for bringing into existence body forms of human and other races on many world systems long ago, and then brought them up to what you would call spacefaring capability, to be able to travel around the universe and craft and go out of their bodies and travel and stuff like that. And then they kind of vanished from the creation for a while to see what beings would do with it, what the Atmas would do with it. And we know the end result of that has not been very pretty. Very recently, they decided to come back into the picture as a representative, you might say, of that source to help nurture the younger races in a different direction than they've been going. Not just on Earth, but other worlds as well. So when I go on these journeys, we'll often find him going on them with us. He can provide a certain expertise and a certain protection, and even wisdom and insight. I work with him telepathically, and we go different places, and he enjoys going there with us, and so do beings of very evolved nature from other worlds like going on these journeys with us as well. Because they learn new things and bring that back to their people. They don't just share information with them. They share telepathically the actual experience of what they find when they go with us. And that gets transmitted to all their people. And they have the same experience as if they had gone there themselves. It's really wondrously good and practical to make change in the universe on that rapid a way, as speedily as that can happen. Not everybody has the time to go up into the upper worlds and explore. The most evolved beings can create the time, no matter what world they're on, to do that once they're aware of it. Some of the very advanced beings in this galaxy that I respect highly have not gone into the upper worlds because they don't know they exist. They did once, but let's face it, it's like you can have millions of worlds of highly evolved, technically and spiritually evolved world systems in the physical universe who have been benevolent and kind and never been trapped and still don't know about other things they once knew. So there's a waking up going on in the entire Milky Way galaxy and others right now that never happened before. And that can change the future destiny of all worlds. It certainly has already changed the destructive prophesied destiny for this planet to one that is not a destructive future, not an Armageddon anymore. Every year goes by. It's now 2018, going towards 2019. We're all still here. No nuclear war. Doesn't mean that people on Earth did not attempt nuclear war, especially during the struggle with the former Soviet Union, United States. They did. Actually pushed the button to launch a nuclear war, and it was stopped on a number of occasions. It's very highly classified, but fortunately, we didn't destroy ourselves. It's because of this understanding that I share with people I am not concerned whatsoever about the future of this planet. I don't carry fear or doubt or theory or speculation or debate or arguments in my being. It's a waste of time.
But now people have fear in disaster, storms, earthquakes,
Well, it's very simple. You've got a communication system with satellites where people can find out all the stuff that's going all over the planet anywhere. And in ancient history, the same things went on all over the planet. Tidal waves and earthquakes and Atlantis sinking and the poles flipping. But people didn't know it because there was no communication to let everybody know all over the planet what was going on everywhere else. Now people can find out when someone's shot way over here in this state or over in this country, or when someone goes nuts or blows themselves up, or some tyrant falls out of power and got regimes overthrown. How is that different from the history of this planet? It's no different. Hurricanes? You think this is the only time hurricanes have ravaged the continental land masses? There's never been 7.5 billion people on a planet. It's way overpopulated. And storms and natural things that happen on any world are going to get in the way of those people. They're just along the coast and in the cities, wherever they might be. But in reality, what they're seeing, which makes news, the only thing that news people do and news corporations promote is fear, terror, destruction, car chases. That's what makes news and sells products, because people are fixated, addicted to it. The people that put it out there are addicted to it. Government people are addicted to it. The people are addicted to listening to it. And then they think that this is going on everywhere in every country, all over the planet. There's an imminent Armageddon and end of the world. There isn't. How smart is it for people to rebuild homes in a place that a tornado just destroyed last year? And yet they rebuild them right in the same place. How smart is it to build your homes on sea level, knowing the oceans are rising, and they get flooded, or a tsunami comes and wipes out? They build everything right back in the same place. And then they're vulnerable to another catastrophe. It's common sense. It doesn't mean there's a huge conspiracy that governments are trying to wipe out the population of their planet. If they did, they'd have no workers to support their power. It makes no sense. Tyrants wouldn't even do that. They need workers. If you wipe them out, you don't have any. So people should be looking differently at the way this world is than the way they're thinking, because they're being misdirected to throw stones at all the wrong places. People in control of this world and off-world are not public figures. means all the anger people are throwing around against elected leaders or classified people or royal families, for the most part, it's being thrown at the wrong place. And they don't realize they're being misdirected to be angry and frustrated and lower negative emotions. And throwing all these stones, fighting the good fight against the bad guys they think are the bad guys. The bad guys aren't even on this planet. And if people don't know there's people on other planets, they're not throwing stones at the right place, are they? It keeps them, their fists up, and it keeps them controllable. When people are working, putting their imagination, which is a godly power, into negative things, they're asking those negative things to enter their lives through the misuse unconsciously of their creative imagination in the wrong direction. My work is largely about getting people to wake up that there's really only one proper way to use when people imagine something, they're actually seeing it somewhere in creation, even if it's distorted. But they're not seeing it with their physical eyes. They're seeing it with their third eye, which is really, if you're spherical energy, you can look in 360 degrees in any direction, like a planet or a sun. You can move around the universe and be balanced in any direction, no matter which way you go. You can look from the perceptive mechanisms, the higher faculties of seeing and knowing from this being out into the universe and know things 100,000 light years from here. I can look on another galaxy and see what's going on if I spend the time to do it. I can go with people who can go with me into other places like that and look and see for myself what is there. Every single Atma has this ability, but they don't remember it. They don't have any confidence in doing this. They think the imagination is fantasy made up in their brain because they've been taught this, and this is not correct at all. In reality, this brain, the gray matter in the skull, has no ability whatsoever, no matter what doctors and scientists who are not classified and don't really know will tell you. There's no camera or motion picture or projector screen in the brain where you can imagine things. It doesn't happen in the brain at all. You close your eyes and imagine a beautiful waterfall in a green grassy field with weeping willow trees and a beautiful mountain range and a blue sky above it. Where is that being seen? In your brain? No. It means the person is unconsciously looking out in the universe and seeing it somewhere. But they don't know this. Subconscious, negative, artificially created emotions like fear and hate and anger and being pissed off and anger and frustration and doubt and fear and speculation and theory and belief are all negative emotional states. Because they don't lead to knowing. They don't lead to direct experience, normally. Faith in its highest aspect, believing in a supreme being or anything like that, or a savior, is best when it leads to experience. If it doesn't lead to experience, you're being brainwashed by somebody. And I wouldn't blame those people. The people that are telling people this are probably brainwashed themselves. They don't know any better. Faith that says you got to wait till you die to know what God is or who you are is not correct. Because people have the ability while they're alive to know these things. They are a divine being. They just don't remember how to do it. I suppose for some people, my just saying these words will trigger something in them because they once knew it. And it begins to surface. The hue will see to it that it begins to surface in people. So sometimes I might be a little strong when I bring this out, but as you know, when I do this, I'm not throwing stones at anybody. I'm not advocating harming anyone or taking out hidden government or killing people that are tyrants or anything like that. No, because they don't know what they're doing or they would be better in the way they treat the rest of life. they need more help than the mass of people on this planet. Because what was done to them to make them self-righteously believe that what they're doing is good for all life when it's only destructive, especially to the environment of the planet. Something more seriously was done to them to misdirect leaders on this planet than was done to the rest of people who just don't remember. So you see, it's not pity that I have for them, but certainly compassion, in that I understand they don't know what they're doing and that they have the potential to reverse that and recover and change and make different decisions they're making today. And they're going to need help from people who are very adept and very highly trained at how to reverse this in people, but they are not on this planet. Everybody with common sense in this world knows they've never run into anybody on this planet that can wave a magic wand and give them instant enlightenment, remember of all their lives, and free them into the universe. It's always a promise that they'll do that after you die or something like that. Or maybe if you study with the guru for 10 lifetimes, you might get enlightenment. This is not correct. There's no evidence in our entire history that anybody's ever been taken to some permanent enlightenment through a process of religious or faith. They're good because people need a prop. They need something to hang on to believe in, to keep balance in their lives until they can know for themselves. The best religious beliefs and faith in the universe should lead to beings who can help people have direct experience about what they believe in. So they know for themselves what's true and know it with certainty, not with doubt. Most people that believe in eternal life, they're very confident maybe for part of their life in it, but they're not sure because they don't have the experience of what they are that is alive when the body ceases to function. So it's very important that people become aware of what it is they are that outlives this body while they're alive. And the reason for that is people take with them, when the body dies, only that which they're aware of. No more, no less. It's common sense. When a person goes through translation or their body dies, they will go to another plane wherever they're drawn to, wherever their imagination is focused on. That's where they'll go. And they'll only know about who they are as a being, or the truth about higher planes and the source of all life and all that, if they're aware of it while they're alive on Earth first, because they'll take that awareness with them. And because of that, they will be drawn to other places out there when they leave this body that are more freeing to them than just being stuck in what they've been taught on this one planet. Supreme Being is billions of galaxies on countless dimensional levels. And if people can't embrace the bigger God, then they're only going to have as much of God as they can imagine. No more, no less. It's completely reciprocal. What we put out there aware of is what the universe responds to us like. So it makes sense that people will put out an understanding of a galactic and interdimensional awareness while they're alive, because that is the arena they'll play in when they leave here. It's completely fair, reciprocal. What isn't fair is that people on Earth had something done to them without their consent or awareness that has closed all that awareness down. They didn't agree to do it. I'll ask you, Parody, you really think you came here voluntarily to be ignorant as a brick and not remember who you are, how you got here? You really believe that?
Before I think that, once I know you, my mind changed, completely.
Yeah, so you know better. You really do. And once a person begins to recover, it's like a chicken, when it first hatches out of an egg, within a few hours, it's bigger than it was. It can't fit back in the egg. This is the way it is with truly waking up. So we work with the hue. It's a whole round tone. Person can use their vocal cords, or once they learn it, whether they're deaf and blind, when someone communicates to them about this. Here's the thing about deaf and blind people on Earth. They're only deaf and blind in the physical body on Earth. But that's not the only body they're running. Everybody's heard of the astral plane, but they think it's a plane you go to that you've never been to before when the body dies. This is not true. A person, a single Atma, is running a body here on Earth, and it's running a body on the astral plane made of astral matter, where emotion moves all matter around there through feeling. All emotion comes from there. They have a body on the causal plane, and the mental plane, and the etheric plane, living lives there, completely different scenarios than they have on Earth. One single being is running all of them for the purpose of learning how to work in the multidimensional universe and be co-creative in creating new ways of doing things with the source to better these lower planes, to make them mirrors of the upper worlds one day. It's one of the primary functions of a human being. Actually, the destiny of a human being, the Atma itself, not the body, is to become a trusted co-creator, not co-servant or co-worshiper, a co-creator with that great source, to do new ways of doing things, to be inspired to create new ways of doing things that will be of uplifting benefit to all life in the entire thing. Not just life on Earth, life all over the created multidimensional universe. Human beings actually have that destiny. That's a pretty grand destiny, but they don't know it. On Earth, they don't. Not yet. What is underway now is designed to bring about that awakening in an entire planetary system. That's never happened before that way. There are many other world systems that evolved over hundreds of millions of years, got beyond their warring nature. They've never lived on planets that flipped their poles and destroyed a culture after 100,000 years over and over again. So they got to continue to evolve. And when they came to a point where they were all ready to destroy themselves, some other race would step in somewhere and save them. Not really intervene in their free will, but wake up their true free will so those people on that world could make a decision to get along and join the rest of creation. So why is it, if that's true, that we would not think that such beings would, when we're at a critical situation of destroying ourselves, also not step in and help? They should. So that's what's beginning to take place behind the scenes out in the galaxy on Earth today. That's a very good thing indeed, because otherwise all life on this planet would already have been destroyed in the last 20 years alone.
Very good information today, Scott.
Yeah.
Every time.
Well, you know, I go through some of this at different times, but it bears repeating because this is a telepathic communication. It's one way, meaning that what comes through is designed to begin to stimulate and awaken this kind of thing in other people. And it can only flow in one direction. Positive and negative energies, the lower ones, good and bad, cannot affect it, even in the physical universe. And it's moving forward and increasing in volume. So you see, the destiny of the people of this planet, its current governments, are all headed in a direction. They have no idea where they're really heading, except I would say that a classified system of people on this planet today know about the influence of extraterrestrials, good and bad, and they know something is underway now that they're not going to prevent. Something that is good for them as well, all life, because that's making its presence known in this universe and in this solar system and on this planet. It is not harming classified people or royal families or any of that. They'll harm each other maybe, but it doesn't do that. It helps them recover their real divine nature so they can be different. That's what it does. So I'm going to send this hue out a number of times, and people I work with from off planet, Terrellian and others in the Galactic Alliance, human and nice couples, married couples on ships and all kinds of stuff, are going to do this with us. They grew up doing it. They know what it does. Such beings didn't grow up being stuck in bodies or not remembering. These are the kinds of beings that have the training and expertise to help unravel this knot in people on Earth. The people on Earth, including the governments and medical people, do not have enough awareness right now to reverse this direction they're heading in time to avoid a catastrophe on a global scale. But many beings from other worlds know how to approach this and how to turn this around in a way that will make sense, so that as people begin to wake up, their lives actually become more serene. Fear and all that terror about the future drops away because they refuse to imagine in it anymore. They won't work with it. When a person decides to stop working with negative emotions and imagination, their life changes dramatically and permanently in a better way. So that's what this is about. I'm going to do this, and then it's going to raise the vibration. Now, what this will do temporarily is it'll shut off the subconscious negative influences in people so that they can, feel uplifted and warm in the heart and kind of begin to go on and see things they used to know out in the universe. And, I'll describe things for them to see. And then they're going to be able to see it for themselves and on their own. And then once they can see this stuff, they can go back and explore it and have friends, people protecting them, people, guides, teachers. Sure, of course. It's a collaborative effort, a co-creative effort. People on Earth, when they start meeting with people that are free from other world systems and higher dimensional realities, will only work with them when their co-creative free will is awake and they say, okay, assist me. That means the person is creating the ability for this other being to assist them. It's not about lording anything over anybody or dominating anyone or keeping them from exercising their free will. It's quite the opposite. It's about encouraging real free will to surface. And real free will, once it's surfaced in a person, means they would never harm life or pollute their atmosphere or do anything like that. They'd never even think of it, never dream of it. That's how the normal human beings in other worlds operate that I know of. They grow up like that. Okay, I'm going to begin this, and then we'll see where we go. I would ask you and your listeners, this is for myself as well. I practice what I put out there in exactly the same way. First, imagine putting all of your concerns about your future life, your age, husbands, wives, children, just for this time, okay? Future of the earth, which governments are doing what, who's lying to who, and all the fear of hurricanes and everything else. Put it on a shelf in your imagination. It's all there. You're going to pick it up when you come back. But for now, in the hue, you cannot take those kinds of negative things with you. They will not go into the upper worlds, and they will not go to other worlds, to planetary systems who will not work with that kind of negative crap. So it needs to be set aside temporarily. Jeez, I wonder about that. Hold on a second. I'm in the middle of a Zoom thing right now. I'm on Zoom. I'm on it line. I'm doing something. Okay, I'll see you later. I forgot I put the regular phone out there, but not my cell phone. And now it's out in the hall too. Talked with somebody earlier today that was maybe going to go to dinner with, but I can't because this is more important. So I had to tell him, I wasn't sure what time he was going to call. Anyway, that's okay. These interruptions don't matter. So as I was saying, take several deep breaths. Now, whoever's listening, if you just sit in a chair in your car, lay on a rug, get relaxed, take several deep breaths, and just shake off the day. Yawn. It's okay, whatever your day was. Put it aside. Now, first imagine someone or something you love, person, place, or thing, a pet, family, people, a savior, Buddha, whatever it is you feel comfortable with that inspires you to open your heart. Not to other beings, to the divine spirit, the hue itself, because that's what it is. Okay. It could be a willow tree by a waterfall, if that does it for you. But be sincere and imagine someone or something you love and have respect for, and you're grateful that it's in your life, whatever that is. Now, all of you, when I send these hues out, you don't have to try to match these tones with me going up higher and higher, but you could send your own hue out with me. Keep the same tone if you want. And you could do it out loud or silently in your imagination without using your vocal cords, and it will still work. It stimulates the hue and the vibration it mimics, which is a sound underneath all creation. It connects that and opens that door through the pineal gland in the center of the brain. It's like a doorway. And it connects the being to the source energy that originally came from. It begins to bring that into your life consciously. Okay. And then we'll go on a little journey, an exploration journey. wherever you are, if you're earnest and working with this, your body will be in a trance state we call sleep, the same as it is when you put it to bed at night and you're unaware of anything because you're out of your body. The hue, particularly when you go to bed at night without realizing it, what you're doing is causing the pineal gland in the center of the brain to secrete melatonin, to create serotonin, and basically what happens is it keeps the body running on automatic, the heart working, the lungs working, while you're out for the night. Just because you grew up in a culture on Earth that does not tell you or encourage you or educate you that this is what's taking place doesn't mean that it isn't. It means that when you leave, you think imagination is fantasy or dreams aren't important. But in truth, when you bring back a dream, you're actually bringing back where you went and what you did in another reality when you're not in your body. Dreams can be very clear or very jumbled. Jumbled dreams are brought back from a person taking fear and apprehension about their destiny and the destiny of their world into the dream state when they go to bed at night. If they take a clarity into that dream state and the desire to really know what they're doing sincerely, then it sets up a different vibration and beings will meet with them to help them unravel this knot of unconsciousness on this planet. And you'll wake up with new insights into things and you'll be able to remember more with clarity. Eventually, you'll gain the confidence to understand that when you are out of your body, in what we're doing now on this radio show, or when your body's asleep at night, you're really out of your body. You're going to do this when the body dies, so you might as well begin to realize what this is about and how to do it and be comfortable with it while you're alive. Makes sense, doesn't it? Wherever you are, this is imagination, meaning you're actually seeing into the grand multidimensional universe. Your eyes are closed, so they're not doing the seeing unless you have them open. But if they're closed, that means you're seeing this some other way. Be above your home, your condo, your car, your house, your apartment, wherever you are. Be above it at night, in the daytime, floating in the atmosphere, 5,000 feet above where you live. And from there, you can look down and see right through the top of your home and look at yourself lying there or sitting there, wherever that may be. It's easy. It's just like when you close your eyes and imagine a beautiful waterfall or a hummingbird or an apple or a car or some place you went to and you look at it with your eyes closed and you're daydreaming in a sense. You're actually seeing it somewhere. It's the first thing you need to know to really begin to awaken dormant faculties, higher perceptions, knowing certainty. We want to awaken that so that you don't remain in doubt and fear and uncertainty your whole life about everything. Okay. Now look up. It doesn't matter if it's night or daytime, you can see the stars in space. Because remember, you're seeing this with much higher capability than physical eyes can perceive. Be above the planet. That's right. You've seen it when the space shuttle has taken photographs of the Earth, continents, land masses. The Hubble telescope has shown you on the internet and other places what Earth looks like from out in space, in the void. Just be out there. You don't need to breathe oxygen out here. Your energy. Individualized, eternal nature, individual being, comprised of the very same energy as the source of all life itself, on a smaller scale. It's like you're a drop of this pure energy in a mighty ocean of the very same energy. You remain an individual throughout eternity, but you evolve to be able to co-create with that great one ocean in vast, wondrous ways that are beneficial to all life everywhere. That is the destiny and purpose of a human being. Look around you in this so-called void of space, black, and you can see all the stars above you, below you, in every direction around you. You can see the earth, you can see the sun off in the distance, and the moon orbiting the planet. And if you look in this black void of space with your higher faculties in this form, you'll see that there is a white light of energy, small particles of white light with a gold tinge radiating everywhere through the so-called vacuum of space. This is an energy that connects all things, planets, space, galaxies, and dimensions together. It is not positive and negative. It's beyond that, and so are we. Get used to feeling and thinking and seeing like this, even though you know your body's back on Earth. You're aware of it. You're also aware of this, what we're doing now at the same time. This is what is called in certain spiritual circles bilocation, or being in more than one place at one time and being aware of it. Direct projection is a higher form of getting around creation. In direct projection, what we just did was jump from Earth right to the hovering above the planet. That's direct projection. Bilocation is more of traveling through these time and space in the universe, even beyond the speed of light, down a vortex or an interdimensional doorway to get to somewhere on a spaceship. Both are just fine. Depends on what you want to enjoy. There's a way of getting around instantly, and there's a way of getting there when you go on an adventure and travel more slowly from place to place. That's what these two ways of getting around as the Atma are called: bilocation and direct projection. Both of them should come with the ability to know things with certainty, no doubt, no uncertainty, no fear, none of that. From this perspective, if you look at, say, Perry and myself, you'll see that we are luminous globes of light hovering in the void of space, and so are you, right there beside us. There's a being I often travel with voluntarily because I respect him highly, and his name is Ambassador Terrellian. In his body form, he was 18 or 20 feet tall. Human race, but much taller than people on Earth, and they are very, very ancient. The Say-Rays immortalized their physical bodies over 1 billion years ago. So if you see a form, long blonde hair and crystal blue eyes and little pointed ears like an elf, like a Greek god, very handsome, that's a body form he's manifesting, so you have some way of determining who it is you're looking at. But in reality, he's a sphere of energy just like we are, an Atma. And we are in a circle around him, not because he's superior to us, but because he's very advanced in getting around. So we can pick up on how to do this by going with him or with us, he and I, to different places we go to. Instead of going to the upper worlds at this time on this radio show, let's go visit a planet called Norexilam. It is a planet out beyond what people call the Pleiades or Pleiadian constellation. We can see from Earth, and basically there are 7 hot blue-white stars, young stars, that can be seen with the naked eye from Earth, and they form a constellation called the Pleiades, or the Pleiades, however you want to pronounce it, Pleiadian from other worlds, has other names. But there are hundreds of thousands of worlds and systems, even millions, out in that area of our Milky Way galaxy beyond those 7 stars. And one of them, third planet from its sun, is called Norexilam. What we're going to do is we're going to travel through bilocation, through time and space, in this physical universe, more than 500 light years away from this planet. This is a piece of cake for the Atma. Remember, it's not made of matter. It's not limited by the speed of light or the laws of physics. Those laws apply to physical matter only. And even then, you can get around them. If you look out into space in the distance to the stars towards the Milky Way, you'll see a long line of white stars like a line running through the universe. And you're looking towards the galactic core of the Milky Way galaxy, which is a cluster, like a sphere of stars. Everyone's seen a galaxy revolving around its center with billions of stars and hundreds of millions of planets with life on them and traveling around the universe. And they have for hundreds of millions of years, actually, on many. You're going to see a vortex open up. It looks like a horizontal tunnel of whirling light. It's kind of a gold light with a white, kind of a white light with a gold tinge, a little violet halo around it. And we're going to speed as these spheres of energy right into this tunnel and then dart way beyond the speed of light down it. And within an instant, we're going to come out the other end of it. And you're going to look behind you in your imagination. You're going to see this tunnel fade and vanish. We're no longer anywhere near Earth. And you'll see a planet. It looks very much like Earth with 3 continental land masses on it, centered over the equator, vast oceans, no polar ice caps. Otherwise, it looks very much like Earth. Blue atmosphere, you can see white clouds with a pink tinge to them. And now we are hovering around Terrellian as a group of people, as spheres of energy, our true form, looking down at this planet. Your bodies are back on Earth, they're fine, they're safe, they're protected. But you're also here at the same time. This is the kind of thing you do when your body's asleep at night, only you don't bring back the awareness of it because you were never trained to do it from birth. So you're going to have to rediscover how to do it now. We're going to sail with Terrellian down through this cloud cover and come to down towards the central continent of 3. And we're going to come to land on the western hemisphere of this continent, inland from the ocean, in a field with botanical gardens and trails and winding pathways woven through it. Some of the flowers here are 4 feet tall, with flowers 3 or 4 feet in diameter. There are birds flying around from flower to flower here that have long, split V-shaped tails. Their bodies are rainbow colored. They look like a blue jay, but they're larger. Beautiful, big blue eyes that wrap around the sides of their head, not like birds on Earth. And they have sweet singing voices. They actually sing together like people do in harmony. They're very intelligent. And they have 2 sets of wings, one above the other. In other words, 4 wings, like a dragonfly. Like a hummingbird, that they have 2 sets of wings. And they can hover in place or move forward or backward like a hummingbird and dart through the air at quite high speed. And we're just walking down one of these trails. You can feel feet below your being. This is you manifesting a body that looks like the one you have on Earth, but younger and fit, about 35 years old or so, no health problems, very vital. And this is you, the sphere, actually manifesting a body to experience tactile sensation on this planet. And yes, you have the ability to do it. You can see a 3 geodesic dome. Those are domes like big clear domes. This is a home. There are 3 geodesic domes, quite large, 60 feet, connected by triangular transparent walkways, like a triangle. This is a home that I have on this world. There's at least 20 acres of land allocated to every single person that lives here. No fences. In the distance, you can see gigantic trees at the base of a long, white, snow-capped mountain range. These trees are over a mile high. They look like giant redwood trees along the coast of Northern California, but much bigger. The bark looks like giant redwoods. In fact, redwoods on Earth came originally from this world. And they didn't originate on Norexilam either. They came from another world originally. On this world, they're about a mile high. Their base is several hundred feet around, across. The branches near the base are gigantic and they come way out and then tip up. And on the ends are these broad, luminous, blue-green spoon-shaped leaves. But they go up, and you can see that there has been a network of buildings or city built within these trees with triangular walkways going all the way up 3/4 of a mile. Up at the top of the trees are broad fan-like leaves like tropical plants that reach out and connect with each other to create a canopy above the forest floor. People have learned how to build homes here, geodesic homes up in the trees, also on the ground. This is not so far-fetched. People can build wondrous geodesic homes and domes and everything like that on Earth today, except this is done in a much more sophisticated manner. I'm not going to take you inside that home, but I want to take you all to a government center. It's several hundred miles away from here. So we're going to hover up above the ground with Terrellian as spheres of energy, fly over the countryside, cross the top of this domed home, and we're going to zip across the countryside further inland in this continental landmass. And we're going to come to rest. We're going to see a city in the distance. There's some pyramid-shaped buildings, some spherical buildings on tripod legs, some rectangular buildings. This is a government center in a sense, also scientific research center. Citizens of this world will teleport here through devices, there's no cars, and they come here to work to develop new ways of doing things that are of uplifting benefit, not just for their people on this world, but for many hundreds of millions of other worlds as well. They grow up being inspired this way. This is a human planet, but not Earth. You'll see people walking around the streets here. They don't live here. There are no apartments here. People come here to work on whatever it is they're doing, whatever their expertise or field is, whether it's interdimensional travel, portal dimensions between universe travel, anti-gravity technology, fiber optic technology, advanced computer technology. There are no diseases here. They cured diseases a long time ago. They don't have bacteria in their bodies that fight their own system to survive. The more antiquated developments of bacteria and viruses were gotten rid of a long time ago. They're of no further use to evolving species. When they're done working, they teleport through certain devices back to their home complex. Each home has one of these teleportation centers in their home. People who engage in farming and botanical work do so because it's their passion. When they're born into this life, they bring talents from other lifetimes into this life, and they naturally excel in wondrous ways in their training growing up. People here live at least 1,000 years or more. They have photographic memories, all of them do. They're telepathic and they can speak or sing with vocal cords as well. These are normal human beings. They have a very high vibration rate compared to people on Earth, naturally. So if a couple, say a married couple, landed on Earth and met you, you would be so uplifted it could cause you to run in terror from them. Not because you wouldn't want to stay, because things that are still in the subconscious that misdirect people in negative ways would cause the legs to turn around and run, even if you wanted to stay there. It's those kinds of things that need to be gotten rid of. So when these kinds of experiences cross your path, you can have the courage to go forward. Simple as that. I wanted to give you a little taste of what it's like to be on just one world system of very evolved human beings that people on Earth do not know exist yet. The atmosphere, when you breathe it in, passes right through the cells of your body, not just into your lungs. It's charged with a certain energy. It's very uplifting that Earth does not have yet. There's no pollution in their atmosphere. There's no sewage under the ground. It's all processed in devices that transform it into useful products. They don't pollute their water table. They don't grow animals for food. They have other sources of food here in such great, vast numbers, so tasty and healthy that people on Earth would be amazed if they ever found out about them. So they don't have masses of animals they raise to slaughter. That just isn't their way. They don't need that to be healthy. People here also have the ability to draw energy directly into their being as the Atma and run bodies. So they actually don't need to eat food to survive. They do it for pleasure or to socially engage with one another. Human beings on Earth can also do this when they go through enough change to do it. And I want to mention this and expose the listening audience to it so they can begin to remember somewhere in their past, long ago, they crossed paths with technology and lives like this, even though they've been made to forget it. That all goes back to a great war that happened in our galaxy 500,000 years ago. And tyrants were defeated, and a treaty was struck up, and Earth was caught in the middle of that treaty. And it's made it a kind of a policed world because the poles flip and things are destroyed every 100,000 years. Until recently, that was suspended permanently. But beings were allowed to come to Earth, both tyrants with their slaves and others, and have small cultural places on this planet to do scientific research under treaty. If a catastrophe happened on this Earth, tyrants would leave human slaves behind. And those few that would survive would procreate and develop the kinds of cultures we have today. There's a lot to this that people need to be aware of. How to change it. How do you wake up a sleeping planet? First of all, the treaty that was created 500,000 years ago no longer applies because it's been broken so many times by tyrants sneaking around corners, it's not worth the paper it's written on. So the real purpose for this journey is to help people understand that we're going through a change on this Earth that's never occurred before in galactic history. There's a lot of beings in the universe who want to be present for the transformation of a planet so backward and so suppressed as Earth. They want to be part of watching it become normal, just normal. A normal child of about 10 on one of these worlds would have the equivalent of 10 PhDs to someone on Earth. And when they grow up, they're very passionate about creating things to benefit their fellows and the people they trade with and have life with and enjoy life with from many other world systems. They're aware of the astral plane. They're aware of the other dimensions. They're aware of their other lifetimes they've lived. That's normal. So Earth really has some catching up to do. Now you're going to be above this planet in the atmosphere with Terrellian and myself and Perry, floating as a sphere of energy. Quite safe. Nothing can harm you in this form. No negative being in or out of bodies, no technology, no rays or beams or anything like that. And you're going to find yourself suddenly hovering above the planet Earth in space, instantly. We've just come in 1 second across more than 500 light years in terms of the speed of light in the physical universe. Look down from here and see your body wherever it is right through the top of whatever home you live in, wherever you are, out in the grass, under a tree, in a car, and see, in other words, see this experience we just went through, communicated to that physical consciousness that's in a sleep state, so that you record it in that consciousness. Same thing you would do when you wake up in the morning and remember a vivid dream, except you're doing this in full awareness. This will have an effect of a positive nature on your dream state from now on as well, especially if you work at it a bit. Then find yourself hovering above your body, not in it, above the head of your body, whether it's laying down or sitting up. This is the real you. When you listen carefully, you'll hear the sound of thousands of men and women's voices in perfect harmony, singing the hue on many levels until it sounds like one constant you. This is how you link to the omnipresent living energy field that surrounds, sustains, connects all life. This energy is not positive and negative. It's not Maya or Maya. It's not part of illusion. And we are comprised of it as beings. When you're ready, open your eyes.
Thank you, Scott.
Pleasure. It should be a benefit to people listening. One concern I have, of course, is that the Savior's Agenda book is written in English, and it's quite an endeavor to publish a book in another language. It requires hiring top editors who have perfect English and grammar, both in, say, Thai and in English, who can translate that properly into the text. And then another editor hired to supervise the first editor's work to make sure it's right. And then each book with a different language has to be published as a separate book all over again and distributed in order for people to have it, which means normally the most successful authors get their books published in other languages because the companies behind them can afford to spend millions to do it. J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter, there's an example. They're in every language there is probably now, but then she's a billionaire in England. Publishers made a lot of money from those books, so naturally they can afford to do it. I'm not in that position yet. So my concern is that when people get the book, they're going to need someone to help them translate it and understand, particularly the special technique section in the back. Because what we just did goes into and beyond what those techniques are endeavoring to get people to do, that are written for the prologue in every chapter, 29 chapters, that cover revealed hidden truth in each chapter that's revealed. So, for instance, if a person has a dream at night and they remember being with beautiful extraterrestrial humans on a ship and they felt wonderful, like they used to know this stuff, they can go to the chapter in the book that represents that from Mark Sandfield and Janice Carter and begin to work with the technique for that chapter to help wake that up in them. That's what it's designed to do. But what we just did is leaping beyond that so that people can have kind of a bit of a guide to see what's out there and imagine what's out there so they can go back to the technique in the book and apply a recording. For instance, when this goes on YouTube, someone could download that or replay it again privately and go on the journey again and then try one of the techniques in the book, and it will leapfrog them into greater experience more quickly. Important. Okay.
Okay, Scott, thank you very much. See you next Friday.
See you next time. And I wish everybody who's listening wondrous, unexpected, uplifting, enlightening, permanently advancing experiences. So I guess I'll stop the recording now and we'll talk later.